Chosen one. Pause right here. Heaven has interrupted your scrolling, your wandering thoughts, your endless cycle of distraction. This is not by chance. This moment is divine appointment. You are not here because of an algorithm. You are here because eternity is leaning in. Because the God who formed you in the secret place has pressed pause on the noise around you to whisper, to thunder, and to call you back into alignment. Listen carefully. Your life depends on this. You have felt it already, haven't you? That gentle tug that something in your life is more than ordinary. That sense that storms come after you, not because you are weak, but because you are marked. You are different. You were never meant to blend in, never designed to vanish in the crowd. You are God's chosen one, and the enemy has known it longer than you have. That is why he has fought you since childhood. Why rejection has been your shadow. Why loneliness has haunted you. But what felt like punishment was actually preservation. You were hidden so you could be revealed at the appointed time. And that time is now. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Heaven already wrote your name in its scrolls, already carved your destiny into eternity's record. The earth is waiting for you to rise into it. Stop underestimating the weight of this moment. You cannot afford to take this lightly. Too many have treated the call casually, and they wandered into chains they could not break. This is not a season for delay, for compromise, or for excuses. Mercy pauses when rebellion hardens. Grace lifts when we refuse the whisper. Right now, the heavens are leaning close to you, saying, don't miss this. Lie, every sleepless night, every tear you wiped alone, every betrayal you endured, it was training. You were forged in fire. Because weak vessels cannot carry heavy mantles. You may not feel ready, but chosen ones never do. The very fact that you feel unworthy is proof that you are called. If you could do it on your own strength, it wouldn't be divine. Chosen one. Hear me, your calling carries eternal weight. Your yes or no today ripples through generations. Hell is terrified of your obedience, because your obedience will unlock deliverance for others. Families will be freed because you said yes. Bloodlines will shift because you refused compromise. Nations will feel the tremor of your decision. That is why you feel the pressure. That is why the storm intensifies whenever you get close to surrender. The enemy cannot afford to let you discover who you are. But tonight, the veil is being torn. Scales are falling off. You are beginning to recognize what heaven has always known. You are a disruptor of darkness. Your presence alone unsettled demonic strategy. Your prayers shake atmospheres. Your worship terrifies the shadows. The reason attacks increased is not because you are cursed, but because you are crowned. This is your moment of awakening, and heaven is requiring a response. Do not scroll past like this is another video, another message, another fleeting word. This is the voice of God, colliding with your timeline. To ignore it is to dismiss your own destiny. To embrace it is to step into the future you were designed for. I urge you now, as one chosen to speak into your life, align yourself. Lift your eyes from the distractions, from the lies of insignificance, from the illusions that say you are ordinary. You are not. You are called. You are sealed. You are set apart. And this moment is proof If your spirit bears witness, then seal it with action. This is where heaven watches how you respond. Take your stand, not tomorrow, not later, not when life feels easier. Now, obedience delayed is obedience denied. Beloved chosen one, I'm asking you to show that you are awake, that you recognize heaven's interruption. Do it right here. Press like. Share this word so it reaches another warrior asleep in their calling. And subscribe so you don't drift away from the stream of prophetic words meant to equip you. And in the comments, type the number 111. Let it be a prophetic act, a declaration that you are stepping into divine alignment, that you will not miss your moment, that you hear and obey. This is not small. This is not optional. This is life or death, light or darkness, destiny or destruction. Heaven is watching, hell is trembling, and you, God's chosen one, are a deciding chosen one. From the very first cry that left your lips, the unseen realm recognized you. The moment you took your first breath, heaven marked you, and hell noticed it. Others may not have discerned it, but you were never ordinary. Your life carried signs that you were set apart, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming, but always undeniable. While other children blended effortlessly, you carried a weight on your shoulders, a depth in your eyes, and a silence in your heart that spoke louder than words. Even as a child, there were moments when you felt different, though you could not explain why. While others ran freely into compromise, you felt a hand pulling you back. When you tried to walk away from purpose, doors closed, friendships shifted, and circumstances pushed you back onto the narrow road. That was not coincidence, it was covenant. You were being kept, preserved for an assignment far greater than you could imagine. You did not understand why rejection followed you. Teachers overlooked you. Friends abandoned you. And sometimes even family misunderstood you. But rejection was not punishment, it was protection. The very people who walked away could not walk the road you were meant to carry. They could not handle the oil on your life. To keep you safe, heaven allowed certain doors to close, so you would not forfeit your destiny to fit in with those who could not see your worth. Think back. How many times did you survive what should have destroyed you? How many accidents, illnesses, betrayals, and near disasters came close to your life, yet you are still here? That is not because you are lucky. That is because you are chosen. The hand of God was covering you before you even knew His name. According to what is revealed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1, before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, He spoke my name. This word was not only for ancient times, it is a word that breathes into your own story. You are the living proof that God sets apart vessels for wonders the world cannot comprehend. Do you notice how your path has always felt narrow, almost restrictive, while others seemed to move freely? You often felt boundaries around your choices. You tried to step into spaces that looked appealing, but something always blocked the way. Those boundaries were divine hedges, walls of fire around your destiny. The narrowness you felt was not limitation, it was direction. Heaven was steering you away from destruction and into purpose. Even the silent tears, the seasons when loneliness became your companion, were part of the shaping. You learned to lean on God when no one else could understand you. While others built their confidence on popularity, you built your strength in hiddenness. While others sought affirmation from crowds, you learned to survive in caves. And it is in caves that God forms kings, prophets, and warriors. The hidden years are never wasted. They are foundations for eternity. Chosen one. You are not behind schedule. You are not forgotten. Every delay was divine design. Every detour was a rerouting toward destiny. While others sprinted ahead in visible success, you were being rooted in depth. A tree with shallow roots may grow fast, but it topples in the storm. A tree with deep roots may take longer to sprout, but when it rises, no storm can move it. That is you rooted, anchored, preserved. Hell tried to break you early because it saw glimpses of who you would become. The dreams you had as a child, the unusual wisdom that surfaced even when you were young, the way you noticed things others ignored, these were clues. You were born carrying heaven's fingerprints, and darkness trembled at the sight of it. That is why opposition came so early and so fierce. But listen closely. What was meant to silence you has actually sharpened you. What was meant to bury you has actually built you. You carry a testimony written in scars, and those scars are proof that the hand of God has never left you. Now, as you look back, can you see the pattern? What felt like chaos was actually choreography. Every piece, every turn, every heartbreak was leading you to this moment. You are not random. You are not a mistake. You are not overlooked. You are marked. Marked since birth. Marked for such a time as this. Marked to rise when others bow. Marked to shine when others fade. Chosen one. Recognize this truth and let it settle in your spirit. You were never called to be common. You are chosen, preserved, and prepared. The marking is not a burden. It is a seal. It is heaven's declaration that you belong to God, and nothing in hell can erase that. Chosen one. You have carried battles no one else has seen. The weight of unspoken struggles. The long nights when tears soaked your pillow, but no one noticed. The moments when your heart felt shattered while you smiled in silence. These have not gone unseen. Heaven has recorded every cry, every hidden ache, every silent question. Others only saw the surface, but God was watching the depths. You were not weak because you wept. You were strong because you endured. Many would have collapsed under the pressure you bore, yet you kept standing, even if barely. You survived betrayals that cut deep. You endured rejections that whispered lies of worthlessness. You pressed on through loneliness that felt suffocating. All of this was not wasted. It was shaping you into someone darkness fears. Understand this. What was meant to break you became the fire that forged you. The hidden battles refined you. They taught you endurance, resilience, and most importantly, dependence on God. For when the crowd left, when support failed, when no human comfort could ease the weight, you discovered the one who never abandons. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 8, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. This verse is the echo of your story. Pressed, yes. Shaken, yes. But never destroyed. Chosen one. You need to see your scars differently. They are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of survival. They are proof that what was designed to bury you could not succeed. Demons thought they had silenced you. Yet you are still here. People who betrayed you thought you would never recover. Yet you are still breathing, still walking, still standing. The fact that you are alive right now is testimony. Do you remember the times when you whispered prayers that no one else heard? The times you begged for strength just to make it through the day? Heaven answered those prayers. Though you may not have noticed, the strength you thought was yours was actually grace carrying you. The reason you did not collapse under the weight of sorrow was because God's hand was holding you. Sometimes the fiercest battles happen in the unseen. You smiled while bleeding. You encouraged others while broken yourself. You carried burdens no one suspected. And yet, all of this has positioned you for greater authority. You can speak to pain because you know it. You can lift others because you understand what it feels like to sink. You can intercede with fire because you have walked through the flames. Chosen one. The hidden tears were holy. They watered the ground for the harvest that is coming. Every season of anguish was an investment in the anointing you carry now. You are not empty. You are overflowing. You are not ruined. You are rebuilt. Now, hear this carefully. The season of silent battles was not the end. It was the preparation for your public assignment. Those who misunderstood you will see the glory of God rise on you. Those who dismissed you will witness the elevation that heaven ordains. And when you stand in strength, it will be undeniable that it was God who preserved you through the storms. Beloved, pause and reflect. If God sustained you through everything you've already endured, what makes you think He will abandon you now? You are proof that He finishes what He starts. You are proof that storms cannot steal destiny. You are proof that silent tears do not go unnoticed by the King of Heaven. And now comes your part. In this moment, as a prophetic act, I invite you to declare with your own fingers a short confession in the comments. Still standing. Write it boldly. Declare it publicly. Let the unseen realm know that though you were pressed, you were not crushed. Though storms came, they did not drown you. Though enemies rose, they did not prevail. Why still standing? Because those two words sum up your testimony. You are living evidence that no attack, no betrayal, no depression, no rejection, no hidden battle was strong enough to destroy you. When you type those words, you are not just leaving a comment, you are releasing a declaration into your atmosphere. You are testifying to yourself, to heaven, and to the darkness that you remain unshaken, chosen one. Hear me, your scars are crowns in disguise. Your hidden battles are the training ground for visible victories. You will not waste your pain. It will become the very weapon that sets others free. You are still standing, and you are rising stronger than ever. Chosen one. There comes a moment when mercy pauses. This is not said to strike fear without purpose, but to awaken you to the gravity of your choices. God's patience is vast, His love immeasurable, His compassion enduring. Yet, throughout history, there have been thresholds moments when the refusal to heed His voice led not to more time, but to consequences. That is where many wander in danger, believing delay is harmless, when in truth, it can be deadly. You have felt these nudges before, times when your conscience burned, when you knew the Spirit was warning you, when a quiet voice inside whispered, "Turn back now." Those whispers are not random thoughts, they are lifelines. But when we dismiss them again and again, our ears grow dull, and our hearts become calloused. Mercy does not disappear, but it pauses, because God will not compete endlessly with stubbornness. Consider the story of ancient Israel. They were delivered from Egypt by God's mighty hand, protected by miracles no enemy could deny. Yet when they hardened their hearts, wandering in rebellion and complaining, they reached a point where the promise was delayed for an entire generation. What could have been a swift journey became 40 years of wilderness. That was not because God was weak, but because mercy paused. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 2, verse 4 remind us, "Do you show contempt for the riches of his kindness, forbearance and patience, not realizing that God's kindness is intended to lead you to repentance?" Think of a lamp burning low. Oil is available, but if it is never poured in, the flame will fade. Some sit in darkness not because God refused them oil, but because they never reached out to receive it. Delay extinguished the fire. How many lives have drifted into emptiness, not because they rejected God outright, but because they postponed obedience? That is the danger of treating his call lightly. You are not called to wander endlessly. You are not meant to live in cycles of almost obedience. The tug on your spirit right now is not casual. It is urgent, divine, and holy. God is saying, "My mercy is still open to you, but do not test it." The edge of delay is slippery, and one more step can push you further than you intended to go. Yet even in this solemn moment, there is hope. Conviction is not condemnation. Conviction is proof that God has not turned away. The very fact that you feel the weight of these words shows that heaven is still reaching for you. That means the door is not yet closed. The invitation is still alive. But invitations are not eternal. They expire when hearts harden past return. Chosen one, I must speak to you plainly. You are one rebellion away from blindness. Not because God wishes to abandon you, but because every time you resist the whisper, the heart grows colder, and a cold heart no longer hears. This is why the Spirit warns today, not tomorrow. The urgency is not manipulation, it is mercy. Look back on your journey. How many times has God spared you already? How many moments could have ended in ruin, but were redirected by unseen hands? Those were not accidents. They were warnings and mercies intertwined. Yet every mercy extended is also a responsibility carried. The longer you are preserved, the greater the accountability to respond. Do not misinterpret delay as indifference. When heaven pauses, it is not forgetting, it is waiting for your yes. But if that yes never comes, the pause becomes silence, and silence can become judgment. This is why the voice comes now. Loud, urgent, clear. Do not take this lightly. The cliff edge where you stand is real, but so is the hand extended toward you. God does not reveal danger without offering rescue. The way of escape is open, but you must take it. No angel can choose for you. No prophet can force you. No preacher can decide on your behalf. The choice rests in your heart, and heaven is leaning in to see your response. Beloved, chosen one, let these words pierce you. They are not meant to crush, but to awaken. If you feel unsettled, let it drive you toward God, not away. If you feel the weight, let it press you into surrender. Mercy is still here. Grace is still speaking. But the window is not endless. The day of decision is now, when mercy pauses. The wise awaken. You are wise, for you are listening. Let your heart remain tender, for a tender heart is the soil where destiny grows. Guard against delay, for delay is the thief of destiny. And remember, this warning is love in disguise. Heaven has interrupted your path to keep you from the edge. Chosen one, do you realize why the battle around your life has been so intense? Why storms keep circling? Why shadows rise against you? Why the weight of resistance presses harder the moment you step toward obedience? It is because your very presence terrifies darkness. You are not simply a believer, you are a carrier of light. Wherever you walk, darkness loses ground. Wherever you speak, truth pierces lease. Wherever you lift your hands, heaven begins to shift the atmosphere. Picture this: a single candle lit in a pitch-black room. The flame may look small, but the moment it burns, the darkness cannot remain the same. The room cannot stay fully dark anymore. That is what you are. The enemy does not fear your weakness, he fears your light. He fears that if you realize how radiant you are in the Spirit, his plans will crumble. That is why the attacks multiplied, why betrayals deepened, why fatigue pressed in. He fights so fiercely because he knows what you carry. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 27, verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? These words echo in you, because you embody them. You carry light, and that light exposes the schemes of the enemy. Think of it like a city under siege. The gates are battered, the walls tested. Why? Because within those walls lies treasure. The enemy does not waste energy on empty fortresses. He only assaults where value is stored. Chosen one. The attacks against you are not random. They are evidence of the treasure within. If you had nothing, the war would not rage so violently. The opposition is proof of the oil, the anointing, the destiny hidden inside you. And yet, let me speak gently here. Many times, while carrying this light, you have felt the weight of loneliness. You've wondered why others don't understand you. Why even those close to you misinterpret your motives. But light always sets you apart. The brighter the flame, the more noticeable the difference between you and the surrounding shadows. That separation is not rejection, it is confirmation. Heaven is keeping you distinct because your role cannot be diluted. Chosen one. When you walk into a room, you do not need to announce yourself. Atmospheres shift because of what you carry. Conversations change. Hearts feel conviction. Spirits sense the authority on your life. The enemy trembles because you have become a walking interruption to his agenda. This is why God has been training you in hiddenness, strengthening your foundation, purifying your motives. Because when the light bursts forth publicly, it must shine without compromise. But hear me, you are not meant to carry this light alone. A flame can brighten a corner, but when joined with others, it becomes a bonfire visible for miles. That is why communities of chosen ones must unite, must share, must support. Each like, each share. Each subscription is not just a digital click, it is another log placed on the fire. It is how light multiplies. You may think it's small, but every act of engagement extends the reach of this message further than you can see. And yes, let me speak tenderly about something deeper. Just as in ancient times, warriors who carried light into battle were sustained by those who believed in the mission, so too, today, messages like this are carried on the shoulders of those willing to give. Our donation, no matter the size, is not just money, it is oil for the lamp. It is bread in the hands of a messenger, so the word can continue to flow freely. If this light has touched you, consider being one of those who help keep it burning for others, not out of obligation, but as a seed sown into eternity's harvest. Think of it as a river. When it flows freely, many drink, but if the flow is blocked, thirst remains. By supporting, you remove the stones, letting the river continue to refresh thousands. That is what your giving does. It makes sure the stream of words that wake chosen ones across the world never runs dry. So yes, like this word, if it has pierced your heart, share it so another warrior lost in shadow might be found. Subscribe so that you remain connected, not drifting back into silence. And if your spirit is stirred, sow into this work, not as a transaction, but as a declaration. I will keep the light burning. Beloved chosen one, know this, your light terrifies darkness, but it also inspires others to rise. You are not just fighting for yourself, you are blazing a path for many. And as you shine, you prove once again that the darkness has already lost. Chosen one, you are standing at a crossroads that heaven itself has arranged. You may not feel it fully yet, but this is a divine moment, a hinge in your journey. Everything you have endured, up until now, every tear, every storm, every lonely season was leading you here. Now, heaven is asking you to step into alignment, to seal your obedience with an act of faith. This is not superstition, and it is not coincidence. It is a prophetic act. In the scriptures, numbers often carried weight far beyond arithmetic. They were symbols of covenant, reminders of promises, marks of alignment between God and his people. Just as 12 represented tribes, 40 represented testing, and 7 represented completion. So, too, now, heaven gives you a number that carries significance. It is not about the digits themselves, but about the declaration behind them. You may feel a stirring right now, as though something unseen is pressing on your spirit. Do not ignore that. Heaven is asking you not only to listen, but to act, because faith without expression remains dormant. When you act, you are sealing what your spirit already knows to be true. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 18, "Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Think of it like a signature on a covenant. The covenant is already offered, but until it is signed, it remains incomplete. By choosing to respond, you are signing your name in faith, saying, "Yes, I align. Yes, I obey. Yes, I receive." This act becomes a prophetic marker in your journey, something you can look back on as the moment you crossed over from hesitation to commitment. Beloved, you have delayed long enough. You have wondered, doubted, questioned, and postponed. Yet God, in his mercy, has still carried you to this very point. That shows his love. But it also highlights the seriousness of this moment. For heaven is saying, step in now. Do not wait for the perfect time, for perfect circumstances, for the absence of fear. Step in as you are, because obedience is what unlocks the next door. Picture a doorway. On the other side lies purpose, favor, and clarity. Yet the door only swings when you take a step toward it. If you wait passively, the door remains shut. But when you act, when you move, when you respond in faith, the hinges creak and the pathway opens. This is why God is asking you to act tangibly, even in a small symbolic way. Chosen one, here is your call. In the comments, type the number 222. Let it be your prophetic seal. Why 222? Because it symbolizes divine alignment and confirmation. It is the echo of 2 or 3 witnesses confirming truth. The image of partnership between heaven and earth. The doubling of covenant strength. When you write 222, you are declaring, I am in agreement with heaven. I am aligned with God's purpose. I will walk in obedience. No, do not dismiss this as mere typing. Remember, actions on earth resonate in heaven. When you press those keys, it is more than pixels on a screen. It is a signature in the unseen realm. It is a testimony before angels and demons alike that you have chosen your side. And consider this, others who read your comment may be stirred to act as well. Your obedience becomes their courage. Your boldness becomes their spark. In this way, your simple act of typing 222 is not only about your journey, it is about igniting a chain reaction of obedience across countless lives. This is how heaven works. One spark becomes a flame. One flame becomes a fire. And soon the night cannot withstand the brightness. You are that spark. Chosen one. When you declare, you are striking the match. So, pause and let this truth settle. You are at a prophetic crossroad, and your obedience here will echo far beyond this moment. Do not underestimate it. Heaven is watching. The Spirit is prompting. Your heart already knows the truth. Now, let your actions seal it. Type 222 and let it be your covenant act, your spiritual signature, your prophetic yes. And once you do, remember that this is not the end but the beginning. A door will swing, and you will sense it in ways you cannot yet describe. Peace will rest heavier, clarity will sharpen, resistance will feel lighter, because obedience always breaks chains. Beloved, your life depends on these moments. Your destiny hangs on these decisions. And this one right now is heaven's invitation written in numbers. Do not let it slip by. Chosen one. There comes a time when masks fall away. Life has already shown you glimpses of this moments when people revealed their true intentions. When relationships you thought were solid dissolved. When doors you assumed were blessings turned out to be traps. Though painful, each unveiling was necessary. For the journey you are walking cannot be carried with illusions. It demands clarity, purity, and truth. You have noticed this pattern. Certain friendships that once felt warm slowly grew cold. Certain opportunities that looked like favor eventually carried hidden strings. Certain voices that promised loyalty revealed envy beneath the surface. This was not coincidence. It was heaven's hand pulling away the veil so you could see clearly. For if the mask remained, you might have leaned on what could not sustain you, trusted what would have betrayed you, or stepped through doors that would have led to destruction. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 17, verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? These words may sound heavy, but they are truth. The human heart, apart from God, is capable of deception even toward itself. And so, God, in His mercy, removes disguises from around you, not to hurt you, but to protect you. It is not easy to watch a friend turn foe, to see a promise dissolve, to realize that someone you trusted had a hidden agenda. It stings, it bruises, but it also teaches. Each mask that falls reminds you to anchor yourself, not in people, not in opportunities, not in applause, but in God alone. For He is the only one who sees without distortion, who loves without condition, who remains when all others depart. Think back to the seasons of disappointment. What you thought was betrayal was often redirection. When someone walked away, heaven was clearing space for better alignment. When an offer crumbled, God was blocking what would have changed you. At the time, it felt like loss. But in hindsight, you can see it was mercy disguised as rejection. Masks fall not only from others, but also from within. Sometimes God allows us to see our own hearts more clearly. The motives we once thought pure are exposed as mixed. The desires we pursued as righteous are revealed as tainted by pride, though humbling. These unveilings are necessary, because God cannot bless what is false. He strips away the disguises we wear, even to ourselves, so we may walk in authenticity before Him. Chosen one, let this truth settle deep. Deception is not always obvious. It wears smiles. It quotes scripture. It mimics light. That is why discernment is crucial. And discernment is sharpened in intimacy with God. The more you dwell in His presence, the quicker you recognize counterfeit voices. The more you soak in His word, the easier it becomes to detect lies. Do not despise the season of unveiling. Yes, it feels raw. Yes, it shakes the ground beneath you. But it is also freedom. For every mask that falls, a weight is lifted. Every deception revealed is one less chain binding you. Every false alliance broken is one step closer to pure destiny. There is also power in recognizing that not everyone can journey with you. Some people are only assigned to certain chapters of your life, not the entire story. To demand permanence from what was meant to be temporary is to set yourself up for pain. The quicker you release, the freer you become. Look at how the refining process works with gold. Fire exposes impurities that cannot be seen by the naked eye. They rise to the surface so they can be removed. Without fire, the gold looks whole, but in reality, it is mixed. So too, the fire of trials exposes the masks of people and situations around you, bringing to light what could never be seen. Otherwise, painful. Yes, but necessary for purity. Chosen one, you are being set apart for something weighty. That weight cannot rest on unstable foundations. If God has stripped you of false supports, it is because He intends to plant you on unshakable rock. If He has exposed counterfeits, it is because authentic destiny is approaching. What He is preparing for you cannot be shared with those who would misuse it. And so He protects it by removing them. Let the masks fall. Do not cling to what God has unveiled. Do not chase what he has already stripped away. Trust the exposure, even when it hurts. For the one who sees all is leading you into truth, and truth is what sets you free. You are being refined, purified, and prepared. Though the process feels like loss, it is actually gain. Every veil removed clears your vision. Every mask dropped sharpens your discernment. And with clear eyes and steady heart, you will walk boldly into the destiny that awaits you. Chosen one. The weight you carry is not ordinary. It is not simply wisdom gathered from life, nor strength developed from hardship. It is authority, heaven's imprint upon your very being. From the moment God marked you, a spiritual mantle rested upon your shoulders. You may not always feel it, but the unseen world recognizes it every time you step into a room. Authority is not the same as talent. Many have talent, but talent cannot cast out fear, cannot silence storms, cannot break chains. Authority is different. It comes from being aligned with the one who holds all power. When you speak with heaven's backing, your words carry weight far beyond your own strength. Atmospheres shift, hearts tremble, darkness recoils. That is authority. Think of a soldier. Without the badge, without the commission, they are just another person. But with the authority of the kingdom they serve, their voice carries power, their commands bring order, and their presence represents more than themselves. Chosen one. You are such a soldier. You do not walk in your own name. You walk in the name of the King of Kings. The Word of God declares in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. This was not spoken to a select few in history, but to all who walk in obedience to Christ. And it belongs to you now. You may wonder why opposition rises so often around you. The answer lies in this. Authority threatens the powers of darkness. Darkness thrives where fear dominates, where confusion reigns, where lies are believed. But when someone carrying heaven's authority arrives, those structures shake. That is why you have faced unusual pressure, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the enemy's plans. Authority is cultivated in hiddenness. It is strengthened in prayer, sharpened in obedience, and proven in battles others never see. Each time you resisted temptation, your authority deepened. Each time you prayed when no one else was watching, your authority grew. Each time you obeyed the whisper of God instead of the noise of the world, your authority became more unshakable. You have been in training, even when you did not realize it. Chosen one. You must understand that authority is not always loud. Sometimes it is silent, yet unmovable. It is the calm in your spirit when storms rage. It is the steady peace in your eyes when others panic. It is the unshakable assurance in your words when others doubt. That calmness is not weakness. It is the roar of heaven clothed in stillness. Authority also demands responsibility. You cannot wield heaven's power while entertaining compromise. Authority is diluted by divided hearts. That is why God has been purifying you, cutting off distractions, pruning your desires. He is preparing you to carry weight without cracking under it. You cannot afford to treat your authority casually. The more you recognize it, the more accountable you become for how you use it. There are moments when you may feel unworthy, when your failures whisper louder than your victories. But hear this: authority is not earned by perfection. It is received through surrender. God chooses imperfect vessels so that the power clearly belongs to Him. Do not let shame silence you. Do not let past mistakes convince you that your authority has been revoked. As long as your heart remains surrendered, the mantle remains. Consider how Jesus walked. Crowds marveled, not because He quoted more laws than the teachers of His day, but because He spoke with authority. Demons fled. Sickness bowed. Storms obeyed. That same Spirit dwells within you. You may feel ordinary, but the authority you carry is extraordinary because it is backed by the throne of heaven. Chosen one, begin to see yourself rightly. You are not just surviving, you are governing. You are not just enduring, you are shifting. Your prayers move mountains. Your worship pierces darkness. Your words carry fire. Every step you take into alignment is another declaration to the unseen realm. I walk under heaven's authority, and nothing can stand against it. Let this truth settle deep. Authority is not about you. It is about the one who sent you. You carry His name, His power, His commission, and because of that, you walk as one unshakable, unmovable, unstoppable. Heaven trusts you with its authority because you were willing to be broken, refined, and remade. This is why you cannot bow to fear. Fear is the only language darkness speaks. But authority speaks a higher word. Stand firm. Chosen one. Lift your head. Know that when you speak in alignment with heaven, the earth and the unseen must respond. You carry heaven's authority. Walk in it boldly. Chosen one. There comes a time when the voice of God is no longer a whisper, but a call that shakes your very bones. You have heard the hints, felt the nudges, seen the signs. Yet now, heaven speaks louder. Respond. It is not enough to simply feel the weight of destiny. You must answer it. The call of God is not passive. It demands a reply. Think of the prophet Samuel, awakened in the night by a voice he did not yet recognize. He could have dismissed it as a dream, rolled over, and returned to sleep. But when he finally responded, "Here I am," his life shifted into divine purpose. That is the same moment you stand in now. You have been stirred, awakened, interrupted, and heaven is listening for your reply. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 9. He has saved us and called us to holiness, not by what we've done, but by His purpose and His grace. Your calling is not rooted in your resume, your perfection, or your accomplishments. It is anchored in His purpose and His grace. That is why excuses cannot disqualify you. If He called you, He already accounted for your flaws. Chosen one. The call is not casual. It carries urgency because destinies hang in the balance. Your obedience will not only shape your life, but ripple into countless others. Families will break free from cycles of bondage because you said yes. Generations will walk in light because you chose obedience. Nations may feel the tremor of your response. This is why the Spirit keeps pressing on your heart, urging you to act, to declare, to step in. But here is a truth you must grasp. Silence is still a response. To ignore the call is to answer with a no. Heaven does not misinterpret hesitation as neutrality. Delay communicates resistance. That is why the Spirit stirs so strongly today. Because heaven is saying, do not delay. Answer now. And this is where you play your part. Not with long speeches, not with complicated words, but with a simple declaration that resonates both in your heart and in the unseen realm. In the comments, type, I will. And why those words? Because they are short, yet seismic. I will is not just text, it is surrender. It is a statement that pierces through hesitation and chains. It is the echo of Mary's reply when the angel told her she would carry destiny in her womb. Be it unto me according to your word. I will is the modern tongue of that same spirit of obedience. When you type those two words, you are doing more than agreeing. You are aligning. You are telling heaven, my lips, my hands, my days, my future, they belong to you. And you are telling darkness, your grip is broken. I will not bow to fear. Do not underestimate the power of small declarations. Wars have been won with fewer words. Jesus himself silenced storms with just 3. Peace. Be still. The Spirit moves not through the length of speech, but through the weight of obedience. Your I will carries more force than you imagine. Beloved, I know the resistance you feel. The hesitation is real. The enemy will whisper, it doesn't matter. It's just a comment. You can do it later. But those whispers are lies meant to rob you of your moment. Every delay is a theft of destiny. Every postponed yes is another foothold for fear. The way to break it is simple. Declare it now. Think of your I will as a key. For years, doors have stood shut. Doors of clarity, of peace, of breakthrough. You have prayed, waited, and wondered when they would open. But the lock responds not to passivity, but to obedience. When you declare, you insert the key. When you obey, the door swings. And once the door opens, you will notice the shift. The heaviness will begin to lift. The fog will clear. The weight of confusion will break. Because obedience always attracts light. It may not change everything in a single instant, but it always begins a new chapter. Chosen one. Heaven is listening. Angels lean close. The Spirit stirs within you. The call has been issued. The question is not whether you were chosen, you already were. The question is whether you will respond. So say it. Type it. Declare it. I will. Let the world know. Let heaven record it. Let hell tremble at it. Your answer seals what God has already spoken over your life. And remember this, destiny is not unlocked by feelings, but by choices. You may not feel ready, but your will is enough. Say it, mean it, and watch how heaven moves. Chosen one. The intensity of your struggle is not random. It is evidence of the war raging over your future. You are not simply living through ordinary challenges. The pressure you feel, the opposition that seems relentless, the heaviness that sometimes makes you wonder if you can go on, these are signs that something greater is at stake. Darkness does not fight what does not threaten it. The enemy knows your destiny carries weight. And so, he wages war with the hope of breaking you before you step into it. Picture a seed beneath the soil. The moment it begins to sprout, the ground presses back. The soil resists. The weight increases. Yet this resistance is not proof of death, but of life. It is proof that the seed is rising, that something new is breaking through. Chosen one. The resistance you face is the soil pressing against your destiny. But like the seed, you are designed to push through. The ancient words in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12 remind us, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, powers of this dark world, and spiritual forces of evil. This explains why the battles feel bigger than human explanation. People may play roles. Circumstances may shift against you. But the true war is unseen. And because it is unseen, it requires heavenly strength to win. You may ask, why me? Why must my life feel like a battlefield? The answer lies in your inheritance. Warriors are never trained in comfort. Soldiers are never prepared in silence. You were chosen not for ease, but for impact. And impact is born in the furnace of battle. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. The blade must be hammered, heated, and shaped repeatedly before it can stand strong in combat. You are that blade. Every blow you've endured, every fire you've walked through, has been shaping you into a weapon of light. The war over your future is the very process that ensures you will be sharp, resilient, and unbreakable when your assignment arrives. Yet, in this war, you are not alone. Heaven fights with you, and heaven fights for you. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf more times than you know. Prayers you whispered in exhaustion have been answered in silence. Not always with instant relief, but with strength to keep standing. That strength itself was proof that God had not abandoned you. But let me speak gently to your heart. Carrying this war alone is heavy, and this is why unity matters. A soldier alone is vulnerable, but an army together is unstoppable. When you engage, when you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not simply supporting content. You are building an army of light bearers who remind each other you are not alone in this fight. Each simple act is like lifting a shield alongside another warrior. And yes, there is also a deeper way to carry the flame forward. Just as in ancient battles, warriors were equipped by those who believed in their cause. So too, today, messages like this continue because of those willing to give. When you donate, it is not just an exchange of money, it is an act of fueling the mission. It is like placing oil in a lamp so the light can burn longer, reaching further into darkened valleys where other chosen ones are waiting to be awakened. Imagine a lighthouse on a stormy night. Its beam cuts through the fog, guiding ships away from rocks and into safe harbor. But the lighthouse only shines as long as someone tends the flame. That is what your support does. It keeps the fire burning, so others lost in the storm can find their way home. So, beloved, let me ask you, if this word has spoken to your spirit, if you feel the weight of this battle and the hope of your destiny, do not keep it hidden. Like this message as a sign that you are raising your torch. Share it so another weary fighter might find strength in the light. Subscribe so you remain connected to the flow of words that equip and prepare you. And if you are moved, consider sowing into this mission, not because of pressure, but because you believe in the fire of awakening that must continue. Chosen one, never forget, the war over your future is proof of your significance. The battle is fierce because the victory will be greater, and every step you take in obedience, every act of faith, every seed you plant, brings you closer to the moment when the war turns into triumph. Lift your head. The war may rage, But you are not defeated. You are forged, strengthened, and crowned in the very fire meant to consume you. And soon, the victory that heaven has already written will manifest in your life. Chosen one. There comes a moment when preparation meets the threshold of destiny. For so long you have been hidden, refined, trained in secret battles that no one else could see. You have been walking through deserts and valleys, not realizing that each step was carving strength into your spirit. But now, you stand at a doorway. It is not an ordinary doorway. It is a threshold between who you have been and who you are becoming. Thresholds are powerful places. They are not meant for lingering. They are meant for crossing. They demand decision. They require courage. For once you step over, you cannot go back unchanged. The life you have known, the cycles you have endured, the weight you have carried, it all shifts the moment you cross. That is why the enemy has fought so fiercely here. He knows the doorway is open. He knows the moment you cross, his grip weakens forever. Consider the people of Israel standing before the Jordan River. Behind them lay years of wilderness wandering. Before them lay the promised land, flowing with milk and honey. Yet the threshold was not the promise itself. It was the river they had to cross. That moment demanded faith, because to step into the water was to leave behind the safety of the wilderness, flawed though it was, and trust God for something new. Chosen one. You are at that river now. The voice of God thundered in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Thresholds are often intimidating because they separate the known from the unknown. The wilderness, though painful, is familiar. The promise, though glorious, is unfamiliar. Many are tempted to settle in the wilderness simply because it feels safer to endure what they know than to risk stepping into what they do not. But chosen one, you cannot settle. You were not marked for wilderness, you were marked for promise. Crossing the threshold does not mean you will never face battles again. The promised land had giants, fortified cities, and enemies waiting. But the difference was that on the other side of the threshold, they were not wandering anymore. They were walking in inheritance. Likewise, your challenges will not vanish, but you will face them as one who walks in destiny, not delay. Think of a doorway in a house. On one side is darkness, on the other side is light. Standing in the doorway, you can glimpse the light but still feel the shadow. To remain there too long is uncomfortable, unstable. The only way to rest is to step fully into one side or the other. That is why God urges you now, step through. Do not linger at the threshold. You may feel unready, but readiness is rarely a feeling, it is a choice. Those who wait until they feel prepared never cross. Those who trust God's word, even trembling, always find that strength meets them on the other side. Remember, the Jordan only parted after the priests stepped into it. The miracle was waiting for movement. Your miracle, too, is waiting for your step. Chosen one. Thresholds are also about identity. On one side, you are who you were broken, scarred, misunderstood, underestimated. On the other side, you rise as who you are meant to be, whole, anointed, equipped, radiant. The crossing marks the shift from survival to assignment, from preparation to purpose, from wandering to destiny. Do not despise the years that led you here. Every trial, every hidden battle, every moment of waiting, they were not wasted. They built the endurance you now carry, the wisdom you now hold, the authority you now walk in. But the season of pure preparation is ending. The season of activation is beginning. Lift your head, chosen one. Look at the threshold before you. Do not shrink back. Do not waver. You have carried too much, endured too long, been preserved too intentionally to falter here. Step forward. Cross boldly. For what awaits on the other side is not just for you, it is for those who will be touched by your obedience. You are crossing into a life of purpose, a life where your scars become testimonies, your tears become rivers of healing, your battles become training for others. You are crossing into the reality that you were never just surviving, you were always being prepared for such a time as this. Step over the line. Chosen one. The wilderness is behind you. The promise awaits. And heaven walks with you into the new. Chosen one. Every step you have taken has brought you deeper into alignment. But now, heaven asks for something more, a seal of covenant, a prophetic act that declares your surrender is not partial but complete. This is not about superstition, nor about empty ritual. It is about choosing to mark this moment in the unseen realm, saying, I am fully aligned with heaven's plan for my life. End 1. Numbers in Scripture have always carried significance. They were not mere digits, but symbols of divine reality. 40 represented testing, 12 represented government, 3 represented completeness, and 7 was the number of covenant, perfection, and fulfillment. To repeat it 3 times, 777, is to declare absolute surrender to the God who perfects all things. Chosen one. You have been through cycles of breaking and mending, of falling and rising, of being tested and strengthened. But now, the invitation is to step into covenant rest, to anchor yourself so deeply in God's purpose that nothing can uproot you. This is not casual, it is holy. Heaven is inviting you to sign with your spirit, to seal your obedience with a prophetic number, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. These words are for you, chosen one. The vision over your life may have tarried, but the appointed time has arrived. The seal of 777 is not just about numbers. It is about saying, I believe the time is now. I believe the waiting has not been wasted. I believe the covenant will stand. Aled. Think of it like a marriage vow. The love may have always been present, but the vow seals it publicly, turning affection into covenant. So too, your faith has been alive, but now the Spirit is calling you to seal it with an act. When you declare 777, you are placing a ring on your covenant with heaven. You are testifying that your surrender is not halfway. Your obedience is not conditional. Your trust is not seasonal. Picture a wax seal pressed into a letter. The inked words may carry truth, but the seal declares authenticity and authority. Without it, the message could be tampered with. With it, the letter carries the weight of the one who sent it. That is what your prophetic act does. It seals what has already been written over you, so that no counterfeit can alter it. Chosen one. Do not underestimate this moment. Heaven is watching, for who will step beyond casual listening into covenant action? The angels record it. The unseen world notices it. And your own heart feels the shift when you decide, this is not just another message I scroll past. This is a divine appointment I respond to. So, here is your call. In the comments, type the number 777. Let it be your covenant seal. Your prophetic, yes. Your surrender made visible. Do not dismiss it as small. Remember, Naaman the leper thought dipping in the Jordan was too simple, but his obedience to a small act unlocked his healing. Obedience, no matter how small it looks, carries supernatural power. When you type 777, you are declaring alignment. You are saying, I will not drift. I will not delay. I will not return to what God has freed me from. I am stepping fully into covenant. That number becomes a testimony you can look back on, a marker in your journey, a reminder of the day you said yes without hesitation. And here is the mystery. Your declaration will not only impact you, someone else will see it and be stirred to act. Your obedience may awaken their courage. Your seal may remind them that the door is still open for them too. In this way, your 777 becomes more than a number. It becomes a spark that lights another flame. Beloved, this is not just about numbers on a screen. It is about covenant written in eternity. Do not let hesitation rob you of this moment. Heaven is giving you the opportunity to step in fully. Take it. Seal it. Declare it. Type 777 and let the unseen realm hear your voice. See your act and know your alignment. For this is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your covenant rise. Chosen one. To step fully into destiny requires not only receiving power, but also removing what contaminates the vessel. You are a temple, a dwelling place for the Spirit of God. And temples must be cleansed. For too long, you have carried weights that slow you down, habits that dull your sharpness, relationships that pull you backward, compromises that whisper in the dark. But now the call is clear. It is time to cleanse the temple. When Jesus entered the temple courts in Jerusalem, he did not smile at the merchants who had filled the sacred space with noise and distraction. He overturned their tables, drove out their compromises, and declared that his Father's house would not be corrupted. That same spirit rises within you now. Chosen one, the temple of your life cannot be a place where compromise thrives. It must be holy, set apart, a vessel ready to carry glory. The Word of God declares in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 19, Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. These words pierce to the core. You are not your own. Your body, your mind, your spirit, they are sacred. They are designed to host the presence of heaven. But temples can be cluttered, the noise of distraction, the habits formed in secret, the voices of those who do not belong in your inner circle. These things fill the courts of your heart, and though they may seem small, they dilute the oil, weaken the fire, and blur the clarity of your purpose. Chosen one, Cleansing the temple is not a one-time act, it is a lifestyle. It means asking daily, what in me does not belong? What in my life is crowding out God's presence? It means courageously confronting the things you once excused. The conversations you know feed your flesh more than your spirit. The entertainment that stirs desires instead of peace. The connections that pull you back into patterns of compromise. All of these are tables waiting to be overturned. This process is not about shame, it is about freedom. Every weight removed makes you lighter. Every compromise released makes you clearer. Every distraction cast out makes you stronger. When the temple is cleansed, worship flows unhindered. Prayer becomes sharper, and authority grows deeper. Think of a lamp filled with oil. If the oil is mixed with dirt, the flame burns weak. But when the oil is pure, the flame rises bright and steady. That is your life. Chosen one. The more you allow God to refine you, the brighter your flame will burn. The world does not need dim light. It needs blazing fire. Cleansing also means revisiting your inner vows and hidden wounds. Sometimes compromise is not only about behavior, but about pain that lingers. Resentment, unforgiveness, bitterness. These, too, clutter the temple. They occupy space meant for the spirit. Forgiveness may feel costly, but holding on to anger costs even more. Release it. Tear down the altars of bitterness so the altar of God may burn freely in your heart. You may ask, how do I begin? Start small, but start. Walk through the rooms of your life like Jesus walked through the temple courts. Ask him to point out what does not belong. When he shows you, do not delay. Remove it. It may sting for a moment, but soon you will feel the air clear, the weight lift, the fire rise. And understand this, cleansing is not about legalism, not about earning God's approval. You are already chosen, already loved, already sealed. Cleansing is about alignment, removing what hinders so you can carry the fullness of what is already yours. Chosen one. The call is urgent because the days ahead require sharpness. You cannot afford to be dulled by distraction. You cannot step into battle carrying chains from yesterday. The army of God is rising, and its warriors are purified vessels, burning lamps, holy temples. That is who you are meant to be. So, let the cleansing come. Let the Spirit sweep through your heart with fire and wind. Let him turn over tables. Drive out compromises. Wash the courts of your soul. Yield to the process. For it is not meant to destroy, but to restore. You are not being emptied to be left bare. You are being emptied to be filled with greater glory. Chosen one. The temple of your life will shine again. Purity will flow. Worship will rise. Authority will deepen. And when others encounter you, they will not see clutter, but clarity. Not compromise, but consecration. Not chaos, but glory. For your temple will be a place where heaven is at home. Chosen one. There is a crown waiting for you. But it is not a crown of gold or jewels. It is a crown of fire. This crown is not placed by human hands. It is bestowed by heaven. It is the mark of those who have endured, who have been refined, who have chosen obedience in the face of opposition. Fire purifie. Fire empowers, and fire crowns. That is what God is placing upon you now. Fire has always been a sign of God's presence, from the burning bush that spoke to Moses, to the pillar of fire that guided Israel. To the tongues of fire that descended on the early believers in the upper room, fire has marked moments of divine encounter. And now that fire rests on you, it does not come to destroy, but to ignite. It does not come to consume you, but to clothe you with authority. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 38. Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. This fire was not ordinary. It was the visible sign that God Himself had answered. So too, the crown of fire upon your life is heaven's testimony that you are chosen, sealed, and empowered. Chosen one. A crown of fire means you are set apart to shine. It is not comfort, it is calling. It is not decoration, it is consecration. When fire rests on you, others may be warmed, others may be lit, but you will also be noticed. Light cannot be hidden, and fire cannot be ignored. That is why your journey has felt so intense. Heaven has been preparing you to carry this crown with humility and courage. Think of fire in the hands of a blacksmith. It softens iron so it can be shaped into a weapon or a tool. Without fire, the metal remains rigid and unusable. With fire, it becomes pliable, ready to serve its purpose. You, too, have been in God's furnace. The heat was not cruelty, it was shaping. The trials you endured were not punishments, they were preparation. Every flame you passed through was fashioning you for the crown of fire you now carry. But a crown of fire is not only about endurance, it is about empowerment. Fire brings boldness. When the Spirit fell as fire in the upper room, timid followers became fearless witnesses. The same happens to you. What once intimidated you will no longer hold power. What once silenced you will be met with your voice of fire. You will stand with authority, not because of your own strength, but because heaven's flame rests upon you. This crown also carries responsibility. Fire must be stewarded carefully. In the natural, fire warms, lights, and refines. But if neglected, it can spread wildly and destroy. Likewise, the fire of God requires purity, discipline, and obedience. It cannot be played with, cannot be mixed with compromise. That is why God has been cleansing you, so the fire will not burn you, but will crown you. Chosen one. Others may not understand this crown. Some will be drawn to your flame, others will be uncomfortable in its presence. Do not dim it to appease them. Fire was never meant to blend, it was meant to stand out, to guide, to challenge. The world is in darkness, and only those crowned with fire can pierce it. Remember, too, that fire spreads. A single torch can light 1,000 more without losing its flame. That is your assignment. The crown upon you is not just for you, it is for those around you. Your fire will ignite weary hearts, awaken sleeping spirits, and guide lost ones home. You are a torchbearer, a carrier of holy fire. And know this, the crown of fire is not temporary. It is not a fleeting experience or a momentary encounter. It is a mantle. It marks you for life. Even when you walk through valleys, the crown still burns. Even when storms rage, the flame is not extinguished. For this fire is not of earth, it is of heaven, and no darkness can quench it. Chosen one, wear your crown with humility, but also with confidence. You are not crowned because you are flawless. You are crowned because you are surrendered. You are not burning because of your own spark. You are burning because heaven lit you. And as long as you remain surrendered, the fire will not fade. Lift your head. Feel the weight of the crown, not as a burden, but as a blessing. Let the fire rest upon you, purify you, empower you, and send you forth. For the world does not need more voices echoing in shadows. It needs carriers of fire. And that is who you are, chosen one. There comes a time when silence is no longer enough. You have carried your faith quietly, endured your battle privately, and walked your journey often unseen. But the Spirit is stirring you now to stand publicly, not in arrogance, but in testimony. For your declaration is not just about you, it becomes a beacon for others who are watching, searching, and longing for courage. Imagine a torch carried high on a dark mountainside. The flame may seem small, but because it is lifted, those far below can see it. If that torch were hidden under a cloak, no one would benefit from its light. So it is with your calling. Your flame was not meant to be concealed. It was meant to be raised, so others may find their way. We find in the book of Philippians, chapter 2, verse 15, "You will shine among them like stars in the sky, as you hold firmly to the word of life." This is not poetic suggestion, it is divine declaration. You are meant to shine, to be visible, to testify by your life and your words that light triumphs over darkness. But how does this visibility take form in your life? It is not only in sermons or stages, it is in simple yet bold acts, in sharing what has touched your soul, in commenting as a declaration of faith, in supporting the flow of messages that wake others from slumber. These acts may feel small, but they echo like waves across the unseen. Think of a stone dropped in water. The initial splash may be brief, but the ripples spread outward, touching distant shores. When you like this word, you drop a stone into the waters of someone else's life. When you share, the ripples extend further, reaching hearts you may never meet. When you subscribe, you ensure you remain part of the river's current, not drifting into stagnant silence. And when you give, whether great or small, you are not losing, but planting. You are sowing seeds that grow into harvests you may one day see in eternity. Let me speak plainly here. Voices like this, words like these, are not sustained in isolation. Just as Paul's missionary journeys were fueled by those who believed in the message, so too the flow of prophetic fire in this generation is carried by those who choose to support it. When you donate, you are not simply giving money, you are providing oil for the lamp. Without oil, flames fade. With oil, they burn brighter and reach further into the night. Picture a traveler on a stormy road. They are weary, burdened, and nearly ready to collapse. Then, suddenly, a lamp appears ahead, guiding them to safety. That lamp was lit because someone else chose to tend the fire. That is what your support does. It keeps the lamps burning for those still lost on the road. And yes, there is also the call to comment, not only for engagement, but for testimony. There is power when your fingers type words that echo your spirit. Today, I invite you to declare in the comments, "I choose my crown." These 4 words are not casual, they are covenant. They say, "I will not abandon my destiny. I will not shrink back into shadows. I will wear the fire and the calling placed upon me. I am. Your declaration also strengthens others. When someone sees your words, they may feel the courage to write their own. A single voice can break the silence of many. Your comment becomes a ripple, a spark, a stone dropped in water that multiplies into waves. Chosen one. The world is watching. Heaven is watching. Hell is trembling. Your public stand is not about performance. It is about alignment. It is about choosing to no longer live half-hidden, half-silent, half-committed. It is about lifting your torch high, no matter how small the flame feels, and letting it shine. So do not hesitate. Let your voice be counted. Let your act be witnessed. Like this message, if it resonates in your heart, share it so that another torch may be lit. Subscribe so you remain connected to the river of words that fuel your journey. Donate if you are stirred, knowing that every seed keeps the fire alive. And write your declaration, I choose my crown. For crowns are not given to the silent, they are received by those who stand. You are not just surviving, you are rising. You are not just enduring, you are shining. You are chosen for this moment, crowned with fire, destined to carry light into places where night still reigns. And your public stand today marks the beginning of that visible rise. Chosen one. Look around you. Though the world trembles with uncertainty, though shadows grow bold and storms rise fierce, there is a remnant that cannot be moved. You are part of that remnant, not because you were the strongest, not because you were the most skilled, but because you refused to let go of the hand of God when others drifted away. This remnant is unshakable. They are not defined by numbers, by applause, or by earthly recognition. They are defined by their endurance, their purity, and their unwavering faith. They stand when others bow. They remain when others scatter. They shine when others hide. And you, chosen one, are counted among them. The ancient words recorded in Hebrews, chapter 12, verset 28, declare, we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Let us be thankful and worship God with, reverence and awe. This is your anchor. The kingdom you belong to is not fragile, not temporary, not vulnerable to the winds of chaos. It is unshakable. And because you belong to it, so are you. Think of a tree planted by a river. Seasons change, storms beat against it. Winds tear at its branches. Drought tries to parch its roots. Yet the tree stands firm, not because of what is visible, but because of what is hidden beneath the soil. Its roots go deep into the waters, drawing strength unseen. That is you. Your strength has never been about appearances. It has always come from your hidden roots in God. The remnant does not avoid storms. They endure them. They do not escape fire. They walk through it. And yet they emerge refined, stronger, sharper, brighter. Every hardship you have faced was not wasted. It was proof of your place in the remnant. The fact that you are still here, still listening, still leaning into the voice of God, is evidence that you cannot be shaken. Chosen one. You may have felt weak at times, trembling under the weight of trial. But the truth is, weakness itself became your testimony. For when you could not stand on your own, God held you. When your knees buckled, His hand steadied you. That is the secret of the remnant. They are not unshakable by their own strength, but because they cling to the one who is. Do not underestimate what it means to be part of this company. In every generation, God preserves a remnant. When Elijah thought he was alone, God reminded him of 7,000 who had not bowed to Baal. When the world mocked Noah, he built anyway, and through him, humanity was preserved. When exile scattered Israel, a faithful remnant returned to rebuild. And now, in this age, God has preserved you. You are not an accident. You are a continuation of that lineage of faithfulness. The unshakable remnant also carries responsibility. They are not spectators in history. They are participants in God's unfolding story. You are called to be a voice of hope when fear reigns, a carrier of peace when chaos dominates, a light of truth when lies multiply. This is not a light burden, but a holy assignment, and heaven has trusted you with it because you have proven that storms cannot break you. Think of how gold is tested. Only when fire has burned away every impurity does it shine in fullness. That is you, chosen one. Your trials were not evidence of abandonment. They were proof that you were worth refining. The fire you passed through was not random. It was preparation. Now you shine. Not because life was easy, but because grace was stronger. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. You will not be moved. Though people may misunderstand you, though seasons may shift, though battles may rage, you are anchored. You are part of the remnant that holds the line, that carries the flame, that refuses to bow. And because of that, your legacy will outlast storms. Your voice will echo beyond generations. Your obedience will leave marks in eternity. Lift your eyes. See yourself not as fragile, not as forgotten, but as a pillar in God's house. You are part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken, and therefore you stand unshakable. You are part of the remnant, and therefore you are never alone. You are part of heaven's army, and therefore you cannot be defeated. Chosen one. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. Storms may come, but they will not uproot you. Fires may burn, but they will not consume you. Darkness may press, but it will not overcome you. You are unshakable, for you belong to the unshakable kingdom. Chosen one. As this journey of words draws to its close, you must hear the final truth. Your story is not ending, it is beginning. Everything you have endured, everything you have survived, everything that has been spoken into your spirit has led you to this moment of recognition. You are God's chosen one, and your future has already been written in heaven's ink. The prophetic wind that surrounds your life is not random, it is intentional. Heaven has been orchestrating encounters, weaving together moments, aligning steps you did not even realize you were taking. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still attentive to the whisper of God, is proof that His hand has never left you. It was proclaimed in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. This is your promise. The door is open, not by human permission, not by earthly authority, but by the decree of heaven itself, and no one can close it. Chosen one. The days ahead will not be free of challenge, but they will be filled with glory. You will encounter resistance, yes, but you will also walk in authority. You will face trials. Yes. But you will also taste victories that cannot be explained by human logic. For God delights in using the surrendered to silence the strong, the overlooked to confound the mighty, the broken to shame the proud. Think of the path behind you, the valleys of despair, the nights of tears, the days of waiting. At times, you wondered if it was all in vain, but now you can see, none of it was wasted. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every delay deepened your roots. Every battle sharpened your discernment. What looked like ruin was actually preparation. Chosen one. The prophetic wind blowing now is carrying you forward. It is pushing you into new territories of influence, of healing, of breakthrough. Do not resist it. Spread your sails and let the Spirit carry you. You are not drifting aimlessly. You are being propelled by design. Your identity is sealed. You are unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. You are not defined by what you lost, but by what you carry. You are not bound by the rejection of others, but by the selection of God. You are chosen not for comfort, but for calling. Not for ease, but for eternal impact. Lift your eyes and see what lies ahead. You are not walking into emptiness. You are walking into inheritance. You are not stepping into chaos. You are stepping into covenant. The nations may shake. The world may tremble. But you are aligned with a kingdom that cannot be shaken. That kingdom flows through you. And everywhere you go, it will leave its mark. Chosen one. Walk boldly. Do not shrink back into silence. Do not second-guess what heaven has already confirmed. The prophetic declarations spoken over you are not dreams. They are blueprints. You are stepping into them now. And remember this, though your journey may feel lonely at times, you are never alone. You walk surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, by angels assigned to guard you, by brothers and sisters in the Spirit who march beside you. Together, the remnant rises, and you are among them. So let the prophetic wind carry you. Let it lift you higher than fear, stronger than doubt, steadier than the storms. Your life is not ordinary, it is extraordinary. Your destiny is not fragile, it is eternal. Your story is not ending, it is unfolding. Chosen one. Go forward with courage. The door is open. The crown is given. The fire is burning. The assignment is clear. Walk in it. For heaven has already declared, you are chosen, and nothing in hell can undo it. Chosen one. As this message draws to its close, pause and let the weight of every word sink deep into your spirit. You have not been scrolling aimlessly, you have been guided. Heaven has interrupted your day because your life carries eternal significance. You are chosen, sealed, crowned, and called. This is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of your rise. Think of it like standing at the edge of a vast field at sunrise. Behind you lies the night of tears. But before you lies a horizon painted with light. The sun does not ask permission to rise, it simply does. And darkness flees. That is you. Your light is rising, and the shadows cannot remain. And yet, even the brightest flame needs tending. A fire left alone grows dim, but a fire fed becomes a beacon. That is why I ask you, with sincerity, if these words have stirred you, do not let the flame go out. Like this message, it is a way of saying, yes, this speaks to me. Share it so another wandering soul may find their way back to hope. subscribe so you stay connected. Not drifting back into silence, but walking continually in alignment with truth. And if you feel the tug to sow into this work, 2. Donate. Know this: your seed is not lost, it is oil poured into the lamp. It ensures the flame keeps burning, reaching more lives, awakening more chosen ones. No gift is wasted, each act fuels the mission. Finally, let your voice be heard. Comment boldly, not just as words on a screen, but as a testimony. For every declaration strengthens not only you, but the unseen army rising beside you. Chosen one, the time is now. The crown is yours. The light is burning. Walk in it.